Cool.
That's it. So.
Sure.
Sounds good.
Okay. But we always start off by saying, welcome to Plugged In Chatham Kent. We're your business podcast. I'm Andrew, work at Economic Development. I'm going to go around the table because we have some special guests. You are?
Yes, I'm Heather Prsansky. I am the owner and principal at Comfortable Dwelling.
And I'm Kyle Prstansky. I'm the project manager at Comfortable Dwelling.
And the person who carries in couches and sofas and everything.
Yes. He's the muscle.
Yes. Installation, deliveries, all that fun stuff. I make the dream work. So.
Yeah.
Okay. I say that because I think I saw you the other day doing that. So
Probably.
Yeah. It's awesome. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having us.
Hopefully, it's people who are listening to this have a much nicer day outside, but it is awful and terrible out there.
It's not nice right now.
So, Comfortable Dwelling. What's Comfortable Dwelling? Tell me.
So we are an interior design firm and studio in downtown Tilbury. So, yeah, whoop whoop, Tilbury. So we live in Chatham. We do service all of Chatham, Kent, and all of Windsor, Essex, and we mostly will do design in your home, but we have a small boutique as well in Tilbury for higher end furnishings, rugs, throw pillows. We're going to get into a little bit more home decor probably in the new year, so we're looking forward to that. We've already started to find some vendors for all that. We've got wallpaper, the whole deal. So
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I remember, so Anthony, who's not here, but Anthony and I were walking down Tilbury. We were on our way to an event we were running and sort of did a little social media blitz ring into all these stores. Yeah. And this is before you were open.
Oh.
And it was fun because we were talking to all the different business owners in Tilbury, and everybody kept talking about how your store was coming. Like the whole community was buzzing about how you guys were coming, and I thought that is one. It's so sweet of them, but it also speaks to that camaraderie in Tilbury, right? How everybody's sort of supporting each other, and does that. So
Tilbury's so super supportive, and now we are open. Across the street is Bricks and Bloom, and and you've got Kara's Rose Garden down, and there's and then we've got Reeves Antiques that just opened across the street as well. So so there's this little home decor destination starting to happen, just like Tilbury's been a destination for cars for so long, right? Now it's kind of becoming this destination for home decor. So.
And everyone we've met there has been so supportive. They want the downtown to revitalize, bring the business down there, and people were asking us, why Tilbury? And it's such a great place that it's close to Chatham, it's close to Windsor. You're right in between both lakes. And it's been really great so far, and I know it was funny having you guys come on our opening day there. You gave us a text or a message that the mayor's coming to come see us, and we just scrambled really quick. But, that's something we never expected, just to have a municipality really getting behind us and supporting us, and we're not having to reach out for anything. It's more what can we do for you, and that's been really great so far.
Well, that's our strategy, that boots on the street thing. Yeah. We said we were going to do it. And we're doing it.
It's awesome.
And now we're driving people crazy and knocking on their doors a lot. But that's the goal, right? Is to be out there and pushing that. And one of the things I wanted to touch on was the fact that we were at your grand opening, and I said, "Hey, you should check out this Digital Main Street thing."
Yeah.
And was it a week later you had done all the training,
right.
filled it out, and got it?
I have a bit of a background in writing grants, so that was kind of second nature to me. I know Heather kind of let me...
It was you do it.
Heather let me,
no thank you.
Take the reins with it, but we had a pretty clear idea of how we wanted to spend the funds. Mm-hmm. It wasn't so much the technical, we need things. It was more that because we're a design studio, it's a bit of a different concept for Tilbury, and a different concept for this area in general. So we really had to use a media platform to showcase people, what do we do, why Tilbury, how do we differ from a traditional like a furniture retailer or online shopping, right? So it was really valuable to us to get that done and get it done quick.
So we knew right away too, we wanted Gata Creative, somebody local to do the video, and that would really help all of us, and it was beautiful, and we've definitely seen a really nice uptick just from having that video done and from having the support of running Facebook ads behind it and Instagram ads behind it. So it's been It's been really good. It's been really, really positive for us overall. The grant came really quickly. It was like 3 weeks or something, and we had a check in the mailbox. And, being in Tilbury, we don't get a lot of mail. So it's like one of like 3 things we've ever gotten in the mail. So it was exciting.
Their team at Digital Main Street's been really good too. We actually sat down with one of their writers and did a full article about our business and how we use the funds. They haven't released it yet, but that they wanted to showcase, certain things we're doing, and that was good.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's good. And now we've got a team here. I don't know if they've been out to see if they've been out to see you or reached out to you.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. I'm going to connect you with them.
Okay.
Because we have a whole team here now. There's 3 people who are on for a chunk of time. They're out trying right now. I know the big push is to try to get people who haven't received the grant.
Yeah.
Out to help them out with
Yes.
applying and getting them on. But then in January they'll be out working with people who either have received or even if they can't. Some people can't apply for the grant. So say they're outside of a commercial area. They're going to be working with some of them to do like 360 photos and
Cool.
other cool things that will help their digital profile. Right? 'Cause
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do. Is try to
Super important.
improve Chatham-Kent's digital footprint.
Right.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Okay, so before we started this, I have so many other questions. I'm going to start asking about this.
Okay.
So, why are you different than you said just a furniture store? Like, what makes you different? So,
Yeah. So we are interior design first. So
Okay.
when you walk into a normal furniture store, you're greeted by commissioned salespeople typically. And we are looking, we start with the vast majority of our clients by coming to your home, doing measurements, doing a 3D rendering, like really showing you what the room will look like so that before you even start shopping for the pieces to complete your space. And I mean, sometimes it's as big as a kitchen renovation or right now we're doing an entire main floor that we just got over in Pasatria, right? Like, and in those cases, we're looking at cabinetry, we're looking at everything, and come in the spring when new builds start, we'll really be working a lot with those as well. So because we're interior design first, we're focused more on the function of the furnishings. I always say that there are really 5 like big mistakes that people make when they're buying, let's say, a sofa. I mean, a sofa is one of the biggest pieces that you're gonna buy for your home. And the number one mistake is that people go into a furniture store and they do a sit test. They're like, I have to sit in it. And I'm like, that's cool. But when you sit in it, you're sitting there with the salesperson.
Yeah.
And you're sitting like upright like this.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're not sitting how you actually sit at home. When I sit at home, I have like my feet up on the sofa and like lounged over the side, right? And I'm not going to do that in the furniture store because it's awkward and it's inappropriate. And like we're not going to have our shoes up. And we're not sitting in the furniture store for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Whereas if we go home, we watch a movie, all of a sudden that movie's 2 hours long, and we realize that couch that felt really comfortable in the store, now we're starting to get back pain, or we're starting to get neck pain or shoulder pain, and that all comes from the actual setup of the sofa itself. So we look at things like, how are you built? He's 6 feet tall and I'm 5'2", and we sit on the same sofa, but it's like, how do you actually sit on that piece? So we get something with removable back cushions so that we can get the extra depth from it. If I want to kind of lay up with my feet underneath me, or if he needs that extra depth, and then I can put a pillow sort of behind me. So it's little things like that. We really look at, what sort of issues might you have? How are you built? And what sort of depth do we need for the use of the space? So yeah, it's not just about does it look pretty and does it sit well for 5 minutes as you sit there talking to a salesperson. It's like, does it actually function, and are you going to love it long term? So
yeah, and
much sense.
So the home furnishing and the furniture is part of the equation. Obviously, is part of design. The other interesting thing that we do is we're not trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. Typically, when you go to a big box retailer, they are sourcing from one one supplier essentially, and
from themselves.
so what they have on the floor is kind of what they're trying to sell you. Whereas where we come in, we have trade partnerships with a lot of to the trade only design suppliers. So if you come in saying, "Hey, I want this really different thing," we can pretty much go anywhere to source that for you.
Yeah.
It's
including local shops. Like I have it on my docket tomorrow to go out to, Owen Flooring and End of the Roll to, in Sackwall to look at flooring and to look at tile options for a job that we're doing. So we're not just sourcing in-house, we're sourcing locally as well. We will send them to, to a DeVos or to a Teppermans or something like that if that's what they need for their space.
Sure.
So I think that's very different than your normal, typical shopping experience at a furniture store as well, where they're trying to sell you what's on their floor, which is fine because that's what you should do in retail. But what we do really is design first and retail is kind of second. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
You're just giving customers so many more options. What you're doing in many
we hope so.
Yeah,
we have. I mean, if we take a look at our floor, we have say 70 rug options on the floor and samples to see the colors, but we have, just with one supplier alone, we have over 6,000 different rugs that we can source from, ranging anywhere from like $200 all the way up to $20,000. If we can't get it, nobody can. You know what I mean? And then with another supplier, we have another 3,500 or so. So that's almost 10,000 rugs that we can source from. And if you can't find the one out of 10,000, then you're probably too picky. So.
And we're also bringing tech into the equation too. So once we do the consultations with our clients, we bring them into the studio. We let them touch, let them feel. The rugs, the colors, textures, things like that. We show them their 3D rendering. The pieces, like the furniture pieces of their room that might work. We put all that in our project management system, and we give them access to that through our website. So they can go home at night afterwards, scroll through, check. This is the right dimension. This is. And then they can actually message us directly through that platform and give us live feedback. If that's not the piece you want for your space, or maybe your spouse wants something different, great. We can plug and play and find you the right pieces, and from there, we take care of the ordering, the shipping, delivery, stuff like that. So
cool.
That's something that's kind of frustrating when people are buying stuff online, or trying to manage all those shipments of different pieces, having to wait at home from 9 to 5 for a shipping company, things like that. So we have warehousing space in Tilbury where we manage all that. We take that stress off your shoulders. So that's kind of another unique proposition that we provide to our clients.
Yeah, gotcha. We do all the ordering. It all comes in at once, and we just bring it all at once instead of you this waiting. Yeah.
Cool. So the best way to describe it, it's not exactly, but an HGTV where the designers come in, they ask the clients to leave the house for a day or two, and then we do the big installation, do a big reveal sort of thing. So depending on the scale of the project, that's kind of the concept for the bigger ones anyway.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you've been in business, in this business now for several months. When was it?
We opened June 28th. Yeah, here, and we did have an interior design business in Windsor when we lived in Windsor a few years ago. Yeah, so. Yeah.
So what have you learned so far? What's been your? I know I'm going to throw the hard question at you now.
So the number one thing we learned, which was really funny. So when we opened up, everyone was like, "Why are you opening this in Chatham-Kent? Nobody will spend money here in Chatham-Kent. And we learned that our gut instinct was right, and that people will spend money in Chatham-Kent, and they're happy to, and they're looking for the quality pieces, and they're looking for these things, and if you give it to them, that they will support you. And so that's been a really nice lesson learned, because it was really scary when we're investing our life savings into this place, because it's not inexpensive to open. Even we only have 600 square feet, but even that, to fill it with furniture and to do the renovation was really, really expensive, and to have the warehousing space, like all these things were so expensive. And it's really scary when people are like, "Why are you doing this? It's going to fit." It's like nobody here spends money, nobody here has money, and we were like, "Oh, I don't know. Like, I think it'll be okay." So we kind of took a risk, because obviously the housing market has taken a turn, and we're seeing more value in the homes. Even when we had our interior design company in Windsor, that's dating back probably 6-7 years now. And the housing prices were so much lower then that the vast majority of our work was in either Detroit or it was up in Toronto. And we were constantly traveling because people aren't going to put, a $40,000, $50,000 kitchen into a home that's $150,000. That would be ridiculous. But now that our housing prices have gone up, we just had a client, they said that their home to build cost $750,000 and they built a similar home 4 or 5 years ago, pretty much almost the same for $350,000. Like, it's just everything is getting much more expensive. People are spending more. The trades cost a lot more. And as much as that's hard because we all live here because of the great cost of living, that's a big reason, but it's really good for us because we know that people are staying put and they're investing in their homes versus moving up, and then they're kind of getting priced out of doing that. And so it was kind of a gamble, but we took a look at the real estate market and we said, I think that Chatham Kent is ready for this now. And so that was a good lesson, that not to listen to everyone. To sometimes we have to break the mold a little bit. Some days we have to try.
That's so good. We've got a session right now, Starter Company Plus. We've got a group of people sitting in a room right now discussing business, learning how to do this, who are all at that point of taking risk, getting ready. And one of the things we say is, okay, don't listen to everyone.
Yeah, seriously.
Do planning. Plan it. That's what, invest the time in your business before you just launch it.
Oh, yeah.
But it, you've got to take that's what it is. It's a risk,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, the other thing is there's always that, mentality of, build it and they will come. If we build a retail store, people will just automatically come. And that's not the case either. No. Right? So we still had to really do some marketing and things like that. We were lucky. We got some great projects right off the bat. And Tilbury was so supportive. We got a bunch just right there. And it's really grown from there. And now the vast majority of our business probably is in Chatham proper. But we still love doing the projects out in Tilbury for sure. Because it's nice having the studio right there. So...
Okay, so before we start talking, we were talking about all this marketing advice because apparently you're both brilliant marketers as well. So I love what you were talking about Facebook. And I get this question all the time. How do you market? How do I reach these people? Yeah. And it's different for everyone, but can you talk a bit about what you're doing in terms of Facebook marketing and the ads and that sort of thing?
So we get 90% of our business through Facebook, which is kind of crazy. We've had 1 or 2 jobs that have just kind of walked into the retail store, but the vast majority of our business comes through Facebook. And if you look at our Facebook page, one thing that you'll find is that we're not talking at people. We're not saying hey, check out this new sofa we have, or hey, we have 20% off today. We're speaking with people. We're having a conversation. We're saying, you know what? I'm looking at 4 different rug samples to go with these floors. Which one do you guys like? And as much as that feels weird as a business, we're we're not asking for their business. When it comes to Facebook Organic, that's what they want. They want conversations. It's a social platform. So the more that we can have conversations with people, the more often our stuff is going to show on their feed. So our reach is about, on any given post. We have right now, we just opened in June. We have about 500 fans. Mm-hmm. And of the 500, we get on average, our posts reach about 400 people. So it's reaching... what is that? 80% of our fans, which a lot of people get 10% reach on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So Facebook rewards you for having those conversations by pushing that out to the feed. And then what we do is we retarget people through ads. So when they are engaged with our page, then we retarget them with through the Facebook ad platform or through the Instagram ad platform with really specific content. So we'll, we wrote an article around how to budget for your renovation. And it goes really in detail. It's a free blog. You can just get it on our site, but we'll retarget you with it and try to send the traffic to that site because we know people who are going to read how to budget your renovation. It's kind of a boring topic if you're not doing a renovation. So now we know that those people are probably going to be renovating in the near future. So then we offer up a free download, we can get them onto our list, and we can also continue to retarget those people based on the fact that they visited that specific page. Mm-hmm. So then we can go in and we can say, okay, well, these people are doing a renovation. These people are possibly building a house because they read content around building a house. These people maybe just want a color consultation because they read something around how to choose a perfect paint color. So creating the content, it takes a lot of time. I can spend a full day writing a blog post, but to me, if I use that as an asset for my business, instead of just a blog post that I shared one time on social media and it got 50 visitors, now, you know, we've got things that are going that have thousands of visitors, just because we use the strategy and we're really strategic about who we put it in front of. So, yeah.
I love that it's targeted because you're talking about market really segments in there.
Yes.
Because I get this, well, we just do everything, so everyone's our audience.
No, so it's really important for us. Like, we really do service. I mean, we can come in and do a color consultation, help you pick a paint color, or you know, we really love doing new builds when you're building a home and you have an entire house to do, or we're doing commercial, we're doing a huge commercial building. Like, we can do all of those things, but if you just want a color consultation and you're like, never in my life am I ever going to build a house that is crazy and completely outside of the scope of what I'm going to do, if I start showing you that content, you're going to be like, all right, this page isn't for me. Or like, even if a few posts in a row are not for you, Facebook goes, oh, okay, well, that's interesting because Andrew now hasn't engaged with the last few posts, which means he probably isn't super interested in this content anymore. So we're going to just show him pictures of, you know, whatever. And so for me, it's always my niece. So I was more interested in seeing pictures of her niece, you know?
You know, the other thing too, we actually do spend a lot of time managing our content. It's not just taking a picture, posting it, and hoping for the best. We actually sit down, look at our analytics from the last we batch our content 3 month batches. Yeah. So we'll sit down for actually 2 to 3 full days, block it off on our calendar, sit down, look at the last 3 months, look at the analytics, look at the Facebook insights, what's hitting, what's not, tailor the messaging going forward to that, and start really honing in on our particular clients that, you know, want to follow us, are engaged. What do they like? What don't they like? So, you know, we just did that a few weeks ago. So we batched a whole bunch of videos, questions. Heather was talking about a post about rugs. So, I mean, that's kind of... There's a method to the madness. It's not just throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks, messaging-wise. It's we spend a lot of time also looking at the time of day, what content works best on weekends, what kind of content works best on a Monday night, sort of thing. So it's, you know.
Yeah, it's about building. It sounds like it's so much work because it is. It's you know, it's 2 or 3 days every 30 or every 3 months that we're sitting down and just writing Facebook posts, right? And that might not seem like a good investment if you've never sold anything through Facebook. But for us, when most of our business is coming through that channel, it makes a lot of sense. And we're looking at it as we're building a library of things that we can repost in the future. So, like, our posts aren't just, we're going to share it one time because we're talking about a sale that we're having. Our posts are valuable content. We're either sharing some really good design information or we're having a conversation with our people and we're seeing what they respond to. And when we see that, we can even look at the analytics and look at the engagement rates back. So if you go into insights and then you go to posts, then there's a little tiny arrow drop down that you can click on and you can get to engagement rate. And so we look at our engagement rate and we want to aim for like 25 to 30% engagement rate. And that's really for us. I always say to people to like, just look at what your engagement is and try to do a little bit better than that. If you're getting 5% engagement rate, like a lot of people we know are, well, then you try to aim for 7, you know? We get around 25%. We're trying to aim for 30. We're trying to always better that. Yeah. So we take a look at the ones that have much lower engagement and we go, how can we change this? Like, we're not going to just throw the post away and be like, this was garbage. You know, we're going to say, how can we tweak this next time and try it one more time and give it a second chance? Maybe it was the time of day. Maybe it was the day that we posted it. Maybe we posted on Thanksgiving or something, you know?
Yeah.
And we tweak it.
We're kind of analytical nerds with that stuff.
I love it.
We like numbers.
It's so good.
Instagram's another story too. You know, some of the messaging on Instagram, because it's such a visual medium, is different than Facebook. Obviously, you can't get the same amount of engagement interaction on Instagram really. So that's a whole nother. Like I'm always gramming, and Heather laughs at me that, hey, get off the gram, but I'm actually
he's always gramming.
Yeah. So, but with social media marketing being what it is, it's kind of, you have to play. I don't want to call it a game, but you have to kind of keep things abreast. Even yesterday, we're doing our holiday decorations. People want to see that behind the scenes stuff. It's not just, hey, we have a rug for sale today. It doesn't do much for a lot of people. It's that they want to see our faces. They want to see our methodology, how we do things, and sometimes they want to see our puppies sitting on our sofas and things. It's,
totally.
Yeah.
The dogs do really well.
The dogs do really well.
Yeah. Plus from.
But there's method to the madness, because then we do retarget people that we know are ready for those services with an ad to say, this is how we can help you, right? Sure. But that always comes in an ad. It's very rarely organic. When we do post it organic, it's like once in a blue moon, and we're using I call it like a honey point system. It's like when Kyle does things around the house, he's like, how many points do I get for doing the dishes or whatever, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then when he wants to go out with the guys, like, and we had a date night planned, he's like, can I cash in my points and go out for the guys instead? Right?
Oh, yes. Sunday I did groceries, leaves, and I took off to watch football from 3 to 10. I earned it.
So with the Facebook, it's the same thing. Like, we're gaining all these honey points by getting different engagements, by getting clicks, by getting reactions, by getting shares, by getting all these different things. And then we can cash them in when we want to post a link to our website, when we want to post, about our services. Because Facebook knows when you're posting a promotional post, and they throttle that reach, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so if you say something like BOGO or have % off or have sale or anything like that in your words, like, they know that is a promotional post. They want you to pay for that content, and they do throttle that reach back, and we see that in our analytics. But when you've built up enough engagement, then all of a sudden you start to see, oh, Facebook let that go. All right. So, like, they're cool with us promoting on Facebook, and we do get great reach with that content. And and so we can't complain. So
I
think that answered your question.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. It's
Let's go back to 20 minutes. I know we're such marketing nerds.
No,
but
it's wonderful. But you touched on so many great points in there, including one that I would love people to hammer home. Mm-hmm. You spend 3 days every 90 days looking at this. And that is so important, because there's so many times when I hear, well, I did my plan, I did my marketing, and I put the plan and I put it on the shelf.
Right.
And now I just, whatever comes along, if there's an opportunity, the radio calls up, I run an ad. Mm. Not to say that you shouldn't run an ad on radio, but where does it fit in with the rest of the plan?
Right. Where does it go with the plan?
And how I like looking at things every 90 days is a great milestone.
Yes. And then in November, actually, to this afternoon, we have a half a day blocked off to do our 2020 planning, right? Perfect. Like, what are going to be our big rock activities? What are our big marketing pushes that we're going to look at? What are our sales goals? And actually looking at our numbers every month and every week and every day. We know what our sales are at any given time, right? And a lot of business owners don't, and that's a little scary. They know if they made money at the end of the month, maybe. Right? Like, I don't know. We have a great bookkeeper, and like, honestly, I don't do my own books. We use Scott at Skybound Bookkeeping. Hello, Scott, right? Like, he's fantastic, and we love him because, being young, everything that we do with him is digital. So I can scan a receipt into my phone, and it all goes to my bookkeeper, and I just know, great, my books are done. And that way I know if we're making money, if we're profitable, can we reinvest back into inventory? Can we reinvest into this and that?
Yeah,
so,
you got to be able to
really
pivot quickly. I mean, if you're only looking at your books once a month or once every 90 days, that can get you into trouble, especially starting out. I mean, you really have have to at least know your numbers on a basic level, or have a really good bookkeeper to kind of keep the reins and keep you, financially diligent with your money. So
for me, it's been like, okay, when have we like passed being, in the red to being the black? Because when you're first starting and you invest all that money, you're like, oh, I'm very much in the red right now. And, and after about 3 months, we were profitable. But that was really, for us, it was really about looking at, what is coming in, what's going out, and for us to be able to say, okay, our goal is to hit 20,000 in sales, so we're at 18,000 and it's November 30th. for us to go, where's this 2,000 coming from, right? What do we have outstanding? Who can we call? You know, that sort of thing. So it's really important to kind of look at it that way too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me, I'm watching this show on Netflix right now, car restoration, everything like that. But the guy's just started his shop, and he's giving away so much work and has no idea. But by the third episode, he's like, I just worked it out. It cost me $1,700 a day to have this shop open. I can't do this anymore.
Can't do it anymore.
I can't do this. And you see, just in 3 episodes, I'm sure it took longer than that, but you see very quickly, oh, this is really expensive. I have 7 employees. I have to pay these people. They seem to
Really
want to go
expensive.
home with it. You know,
Yeah.
this is really expensive.
Yeah.
One of the things that struck me is, and it becomes clear as I'm talking to you now, was it within about 2 months you reached out and said, hey, we're looking for warehouse space.
Yes.
Because,
We're like, oh gosh, we ran out of room.
and so clearly you guys were looking at where you're growing and how you're
Yeah.
growing and your needs. And I thought
Yeah.
that was really cool. That so quickly you went, well, we have this, we've opened, but we need this
Yes.
to make us successful.
Yeah.
And you found it, obviously.
Yes.
Yes,
So that's-
luckily, and it was right around the corner from our place, so
Yeah.
it was perfect.
Yeah, we partnered up with
Yeah.
it was Tilbury Warehousing and Storage. So
Yeah.
they take care of a lot of local businesses. And you know what? If I have delivery coming, I'll
Yeah.
just shoot a text to our warehouse manager, and he takes care of it for us.
Yeah,
And
it's
we have our
great.
own
Awesome.
locked up space, so it's been good. And
Yeah.
you know, we can keep the clients' stuff there for however long they need. You know,
Yeah.
one of our clients' tables came in last week, and I called her and said, "Hey, I can deliver it to you." She said, "No, can you hold on to it? We can definitely do that."
Because she's
So-
having her floors done. So there's no, there's no
Yeah.
sense bringing in a huge dining table and then
Yeah.
for her to move it back out to have the floors done. So it was really hard to find climate controlled warehouse space, right? Because of humidity can really mess with your furnishings and things like that. So to have something with both heating and air conditioning was really not easy to find. Yeah. But luckily we found it was right around the corner and also 18-wheeler access with a loading dock. So we had a lot of very specific needs in that space. It had to have a loading dock or else it cost us a significant amount more to be able to get our deliveries and
that's
a lot of places they don't. They have a back door, right? But no dock. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the interesting things of having your own design firm. It's there's a lot of stuff in the background that we do a lot of our Facebook posts very client forward, very doing more design stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of the things in the back end are little logistical issues like that need to be resolved, and that's part of owning a business. It's problem solution and developing a good partnership with people locally and stuff. So.
80% of what we do is not just making things look pretty, unfortunately. I wish it was 100%, but it's like 20% of what we do is making things look pretty. And the rest is all about problem solving, it seems,
Yeah.
It's like problem solving and project management and calling people, and it's the not so sexy side of design.
Yeah, following up with suppliers, doing ordering, stuff like that. But, that's, that having that ability in the warehousing space gives us a leg up on a lot of other design firms, and that's why we can actually provide those bigger scale pieces. And
It allows us to help them too. We've definitely helped out a few people locally as well, and when they're not able to order from a supplier because they don't have 18-wheeler access, we can act as a receiver, and it also, because really we just want to help make Chatham-Kent more beautiful, we want it to be more design forward. We want, and I think people here want that too. So, I'm so sick of hearing all the trends go to Toronto and then they go down to London and then we do it 10 years later. And it's no, it's not, that's not the case. No, we don't just do it when it's on sale, right? Yeah.
You should stop into the Industry, by the way, which is a new hair salon in town.
Oh.
And they're so cool.
Nice.
It's just so cool. It was an old garage, a shop sort of thing, that they gutted, took everything out and have redone it.
Amazing.
And just for the design aspect of it, and also meet them because they're fantastic people.
Awesome.
But you've got to stop in because you go, this is in Chatham. This vibe, it is so cool. I'm giving them a plug, but I'm also letting you know you should stop in there.
Yeah, and even Centro too. Centro's beautiful.
Centro.
It's so beautifully designed. They did such a great job. The menu's fantastic. We went one day. We just didn't even know they were open. It was one of the first days open, and it was wonderful. Me and my girlfriends are going back tonight. Like, we're like ready to go, ready to eat. And it's such a beautiful place. And I think, we're in that Instagram era and people do want things to be a little bit more beautiful. And honestly, so I'm also a nerd when it comes to the health elements of design. And so when we are in a place that is not as beautiful, we tend to have higher levels of anxiety, higher levels of stress. There are a lot of studies even around the temperature of the light bulbs that you put in your home. So a lot of people who are building now are moving to like millions of LED pop lights, which is horrible for our anxiety and horrible for our stress levels. When we look at designing medical buildings and things like that, we look at how can we layer incandescent lighting? How can we layer bulbs that are like 3,000 to 3,500 versus 5,000 in temperature, so that we get a warmer feel? Because when a patient is at an office that has a layered incandescent, like more lighting feature versus your halogen and your LEDs and all these things, you are much more likely to take that doctor's advice to actually follow the protocol. Yeah, and there are a lot of studies out there that support all of this, having nature photography in color. So going into an all-white space that feels very clinical also raises our anxiety levels. So I'm such an advocate for color, not only because neutrals date way faster and people use neutrals because they're safe, but I can walk into any room and go, this was last done in 2002. This was last done in 2005 because of the neutral they put on the wall. Like neutrals date so quickly because that's how paint companies make their money, right? By changing out the hot neutrals. Whereas your favorite color that you've loved since you're a kid, you're not going to start to hate in 10 years, right? I love green. I'll always love green. Like he loves blue. All of our doors, our French doors in our old Victorian are all blue, right? But it's also from a health perspective, us having colors that come from nature are much better for our own mental health and also the mental health of our children. So, those little things, we're taking that into consideration a lot, but like I'm really passionate about that because I think it's so important, and we're in a bit of a mental health crisis, and, and a lot of that design definitely has a lot to do with that. And the fact that we've almost like washed our aesthetic and it all looks the same. And it's like the Instagram model thing where I remember Mila Kunis, I think like a few years ago, she was like, why does every woman look the same now? Because we're all doing the same contouring, the same makeup, the same everything, which just lends us to go into comparison mode. And it's the same with our interiors. If we don't put our own stamp and our own personality into our interiors, then all we do is we look at our beautiful Instagram-worthy space that we basically copied off of somebody else's Instagram, and then we go, oh wow, that one's that much better, and we're always chasing like this next pretty Instagram trend versus just diving into what we actually like. Yeah. So yeah, when we need to get back to expressing ourselves versus like just being out there and
so
trying
you're
to keep up.
passionate about what
Just
you
a little
do.
bit. Yeah. Just a little bit.
It's so good. Okay, we've got to be at 25, maybe 30 minutes. No, I don't know. Time flies around here. Anything else you want to talk about since you're here? Anything else that's coming to mind? What's your website?
Our website is comfortabledwelling.com. We're on, obviously, Facebook, Instagram. Our studio hours are going to be moving to by appointment only for the winter months, I believe. So if you want to give us a show on any of those channels, if you want to come in, check out our studio. We can definitely come in and show you around. And yeah, but, we just want to say thank you for the opportunity to kind of, be able to share our journey with you guys. And the municipality's been really good with everything. Yeah. And, we're excited for 2020.
Our first full year. It's going to be great.
We're trying to encourage. That's why we're still hammering on a lot of the social platforms. Hey, if you're planning things next year, it's time to start planning now. Yeah. Because, there's going to be a huge rush in the spring. Trades book up quick. There's a long lead time on products too. So if you're if you're looking to get a custom piece, that could
Yeah.
take a month or two depending on what you're looking for. So we're
And
trying.
when trades get busy, they also get more expensive.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you can make those phone calls now and try to get something in soon, we definitely encourage people, anyone listening, if they're planning a design project or renovation, if not, give us a shout. We can certainly lead you in the right direction.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're looking forward to a full year next year, and all signs are pointing forward for us, really. And
Yeah.
That's so good.
yeah, I know it's been crazy.
It's exciting.
It is.
This.
32 Queen Street. That's
Yes.
that's your in Tilbury.
In Tilbury. Yeah, definitely.
We might have mentioned Tilbury once or twice in this.
Just once or twice. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
we might have a little something in store for Chatham for 2020 as well. So,
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
You're on the down low.
spoilers.
yeah.
You're on the down low. We won't be moving from Tilbury. Tilbury will stay.
No.
But yeah,
No,
might
we-
have a little something.
Yeah, we're firmly ingrained in Chatham Can. We're going to
Yeah.
be here for a while, and we want to make this work. And we're all of our fans out there. Everything has been really, really great. And
Yeah.
I honestly, personally, I think even on our wildest dreams, we didn't think we would have been this successful this fast.
Yeah.
So really, just trying to keep the train rolling, and just doing things like this and getting our name out there is definitely good. So
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you made it to the business development trade show, because I heard so many people afterwards talking about you.
Oh.
I don't know if you're aware of that, but I heard people talking.
it might have
about
been
you.
the beard. I found my beard twin there. Ironically, we never
Yeah.
met before.
Oh.
And we were wearing pretty much the exact same shirt and pants, and we both had a big red beard, and we both looked at each other and pointed at each other. It was like that Spider-Man
Like
meme.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, you. But no, it's great that we're able to kind of bring small businesses together like that, and
Yeah, it was cool.
met a lot of good people. It wasn't so much, I grabbed a coffee and I just went to each booth, and it wasn't so much hammering. Oh, hey, this is what I do. It's just learning about what other people's businesses are, and
Yeah.
there were potentially, there's employers there too. We might be looking to bring on someone part-time next year. So again, there are resources
Maybe
there
full
for
time next year.
maybe full-time next
I
year.
was really
so,
tired.
so I mean, there were two resources there that I didn't even know existed, and there's some partial funding through I forget whatever
Goodwill.
program. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah,
Goodwill's the one. Yeah.
yeah. So I just thought they did old clothes, right? And that's one of the things that we chatted about. That's a common myth. So just being able to get that kind of learning out there too was really beneficial for
Yeah.
us. And and honestly, it was fun too, actually seeing people you talk to on Facebook and Instagram in real life. It's like,
You can tell who does our social media
Yeah,
engagement. I
yeah.
have no clue who anyone was.
yeah,
And I'm like,
I don't know your actual name, but I know your username. But it's just good to have that one-on-one and really show them what we do and things like that.
That's awesome. It was. We had a lot of fun, and so I'm glad you had fun there as well.
Yeah, it's good.
For those who are curious, the Goodwill program is a hiring grant of $10,000 to help out with hiring and training and all kinds of fun things with that. So if anybody's listening for that part. Talk to them. Goodwill Career Center is the key thing.
That's what it was.
It's the Goodwill Career Center. So have or just reach out to us at investck.ca. Our own little plug.
Nice.
I have to do that. Well, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having us.
It's been amazing. I got to go down the marketing rant. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna geek out on that for at least another 2 hours.
Oh, it really can because there's so many things.
There's so much.
My background in education is more in analytics and reporting and technical stuff, and that's we start talking numbers. That's my jam right there. So
Isn't it so much fun?
Yeah. With the right people, it's fun.
With the right
Some
people.
people kind of just glaze over,
Yeah.
but you have again.
Stop talking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just with knowing your business numbers, you need to know your social media metrics. You need to know your website traffic and things like that to actually make that part of your business work and work for you, right? So, anyways, I'll leave it at that.
That was one of my questions in here is what's a good piece of business advice, and so I think you've given about 1,000 of them,
numbers.
so thank you. Okay, and on that, thank you, Chatham Kent. We'll see you later.